Alright, so I've been talking now for 4 minutes, and Doc's been talking for 4 minutes and didn't realize that he wasn't streaming. Let's see if we can get this refreshed. Sorry about that, traders. Uh, I've been talking for 4 minutes and thought that I was streaming at the same time, and obviously I was not. It wasn't. Sorry about that. So I've been talking for 4 minutes at the same time. I'm not streaming. There we go. That's better. Now we're there, and I'm the only one here. Okay, that's the way it rolls. All right, so where am I at? I'm going to start over again this way for posterity for the YouTube. Everybody will hear what I'm saying. So sorry that I was talking for 4 minutes and wasn't streaming. But in the end result here is we can see that the Swiss is moving up. Dollar is moving up also at the same time. That's how they work there in this particular one. It's dollar Swiss. Now if it was Swiss dollar, it'd be the reverse. And so you can see that on J4X. The dollar is a little bit firmer today. What do we got up there? I got the short term. I guess the news came out. I wonder what the news was. It's PPI, right? So let's see what PPI is. And we at the same time we have Mr. Powell speaking today, and because he's speaking, let's see where PPI is. He's going to be doing testimony. Powell on deck, they say. Futures rebound as Apple soars to all-time highs. Dovish Powell on deck. Hooray for them. And so that's what's going on here. At the same time, the two-day event by the Federal Reserve, we don't have much of a choice in the sense of it is, it might be the old Humphrey Hawkins. I think that's what it could be. Testimony they used to do, and it's a combination of the House and the Senate, asking questions to the Federal Reserve Chair. In these times, they talk so much more. When they did these Humphrey Hawkins, these were two senators, Humphrey from Minnesota and Hawkins from Wisconsin, I believe it was. And then also Scoop Jackson, I think he used to do it too. They used to do it because the Federal Reserve didn't talk at all. Now we're in an era where the Fed, they all yak all day long. They're talking. Sometimes it's 4 or 5 of the presidents and Fed presidents of the individual Fed banks talk, and then the Fed chair talks, and everybody talks. So it's almost like it's almost irrelevant that these things even occur, but they do, and so we put up with it, because that's how that works, Let's see, do we have everything? Oh, I said I need to move the chart. First of all, let's get it loaded. Let's get the currencies up there and show you where we are with the currencies. I've got some short-term stuff ticking away up top there. That's the S&P and the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ 100, or the Tech 100 as they call it on Dukascopy and in Europe. And we used to call it the Tech 100 here now, but it's fallen into the language or linguistics as the NQs, the symbol itself. Alan, how you doing? I was yakking for for 4 minutes before I realized I wasn't screen share in. Hey, Robin. I was just yakking away. So I've done I did a practice, I guess. So now I'm probably caught up. All right. And then there was, okay, let's put this up there like so. And this is the Chicago quant side of it. There we are, right there. So there is the, what do we got there? Let's put the Swissy there. You can see Swissy now is rolling over, actually. So the last 2 days have been a little bit firm, and it's in a daily buy from yesterday, and it's giving us a little rollover at the moment. So we'll see how that plays itself out. But the dollar kind of stays firm and consistent. It doesn't really let go. As much as you got the cryptos and you got China and Russia and all these other countries claiming they're going to get rid of dollars, they don't seem to be able to do that, obviously because they need them. And I have no doubt that the sovereign fund in Russia, or the Russian Federation, is probably owning dollars somewhere else, just like the way the Chinese, I think, have even stopped doing that, where they claim that they're going to sell their dollar holding. And I think they've learned their lesson. It's just a very foolish concept there. So, let's see, where do we go from here? Let's take a look at the euro. Euro closed in a daily sell there yesterday. Let's see, right there. And it's popping up today. So it went into a sell there yesterday. Let's throw this line in there. There you go. After being in a buy for a couple of days, right there. And what we got going on now is we're still in that weekly sell for a while now with the euro. They don't seem to be able to really lift it up. Hey George, how you doing? Same thing going on with cable. Right here, you see the same thing. Cable is trying to go into a daily sell today. Let's grab one of these, put it right there. So cable is trying to go into a daily sell. See the lines are underneath it at the moment. It's in that weekly sell right here. So, you know, I don't know. I guess if they fight their way back up, it has been acting pretty well. George says, Robin Silver finally moving up. Yeah, how about that? Hey Moses, let's go check it out. There is the silver. Right there. And where's that line at? It did close in the daily buy there last night. So that's pretty cool. So it's popping itself up right there. You can see that. Silver is acting pretty well there. Really would like to see that weekly turn up. That would make me a lot happier. I just don't trust any of that. Oh, Alan says that the size of the 75 expiration for, that's a 75 strike price in the Aussie dollar pairs traded Thursday. New York cut is now at 3.35. So it's picked up another $1/3 billion now in open interest. Let's see what it looks like. I think it went into the buy yesterday and it's trying to go into a sell today. I do remember something like that. There you go. Right there. There it is right there. You can see it's trying to go back into the sell. Went into the buy yesterday, even on a down candle, which is usually fun. And then it opens down and goes up. That's always entertaining in its own right. Also, let's steal a couple of these lines. There's a sell right there. Let's grab that buy right there. We'll use that. Put the buy right there. Overall, it does seem to be just locked on that 75 strike until the expiration, which is what, tomorrow? Is it Thursday or Wednesday expiration on that? And so Alan is a student of the open interest. He follows the open interest, or she follows the open interest, and let's see, dollar yen strikes at 110. Yeah, that's been sitting at 110 too, right? That's like what, $4 billion of open interest of options on the 110 strike. Let's check that out. Right there, and you can see it's hanging. This one's a little bit more radical. It's parked there for about 4 or 5 days. Goes up to the 111-ish area, comes back down again. Seems to be parked there for a while, and then it lifts up through it, and now it comes back down it again. And in this case here, the euro, I'm sorry, the yen against the dollar is in a weekly buy now for, what's that, 2, 4, 6, 8. This is going on 9th week. So it's been hanging in that weekly buy between 109 and 111, kind of circling around that 110 area. So U.S. initial job claims will be consistent. I guess, you know, it's hard to say. Let's see, what's today? Today is the 14th. Okay, so tomorrow's numbers, yeah, so we'll see. I imagine, I don't know, you know, look at that inflation number. Look how bad that bond auction was, the 30-year bond auction yesterday. You know, there's a lot of cross current, a lot of wild stuff going on, especially when you have a Federal Reserve that's following its own instincts now. It's not following, economics. It's following its own instincts. So that alone seems to be the part of the the equation, I guess you could say. That is part of the equation right there alone, is the fact that they're doing things not necessarily on an economic basis, but on a political basis. And that's where we are. As we take a sip of water here. And so that is kind of a disappointment. It's kind of tough when you have to follow the Federal Reserve through politics. And remember, we've seen some of the craziest and worst reactions in the marketplace, and it doesn't seem to have that much of an effect in the end. They still, they still do the what they see as politically expedient, but not what is economically logical. And when you see massive inflation, you don't expect bond rates to drop. You expect them to go up. In other words, you don't expect interest rates to drop when when you have massive inflation. You expect the opposite. That's why I say, in these times, the Federal Reserve doesn't do things on an economic basis. They do it on a political basis. They need interest rates to stay down low so that the government can keep on trying to spend money, because that's the policy at the moment. So that is what it is. And should we look at gold because we looked at silver? Why don't we do this? We'll do Turkish lira. There's Turkish lira. It's been in this daily sell now for a while, since like right there. Let's put that in. Right there's the daily sell. And now the weekly is starting to flirt underneath. We saw last week where the euro against the Turkish lira flirted with those numbers right there. And closed in a weekly sell last week. Missed it 2 weeks ago by the hair of its. Actually, it didn't. It closed 2 weeks ago. So we can actually say that this was in a weekly sell right there. So right there is the weekly sell. And so the pressure is on this product, and for the better for Turkey, that is. No, it's picking up value. When it goes down, it's a good thing for the Turkish population. Ooh, let's see. From there we go to Canadian, and then we'll go look at gold. And we can also look at South African rand, get a flavor of what's going on with the South African rand. There's Canadian. It's trying to get into a daily buy. It's been in a daily sell for a couple of days. It keeps on just lollygagging, just hanging around there doing nothing. It did give it a little pop there yesterday, but didn't get it into the buy or anything like that. Just knocked it down. Let's see what we got here. Dukascopy. How about you try to put up? Okay. All right. So that's where we are with Canadian, and then normally we look at crude oil from there and gold. So why don't we do that? Unless someone wants to see something in particular. And there is the crude oil. Crude oil is holding up firm. Been in daily buy for 4 days. Not really going anywhere, but been holding up firm. And we're in a weekly buy now for 2, 4, 6, 7 weeks, going on an 8th week. Doesn't look like it wants to come down. And then we did see silver, so let's go and check out gold. And gold is doing the same thing as silver is, except for it's a day behind. But it's also in weekly sells. So this is all dead cat bounce as far as I can tell until we get something going. I guess that should be up at the top really, but we'll leave it down there for the afternoon charts, and I could always remove it either way. And that's really what's going on here. Is the metals market is showing just a little life, but again, we don't have a weekly buy in either of those products, so there's not much of a reason to join in at the moment. Just one thing's for sure, you can try to cover your shorts, protect your upside at the moment in case this follows through. And you know, sometimes dailies lead to weeklies, and that is the truth. So you got to be careful there, not to say, oh, it's in a weekly sell. I think I'll just let it, rotate for a while, let it do its thing. It's like, use that daily as a protector, to keep you straight, keep you getting trapped in something much more aggressively than you would think. Now, let's take a look at the South African Rand, see if the metals market is, or let's say the currency should be going down in the South African Rand. And the answer to that question is, there it is. It's going up in value the last couple of days. It should be going down. Maybe this is a peak and it'll start to roll over. Well, we've been in a weekly buy, just like gold has been in a weekly sell for, in this case here, 4 weeks going on 5. And over on gold, it's 7 weeks. We're in 5 weeks. We're in sells, not 4. So it's pretty much holding to each other's characteristics. The South African Rand is giving us a legitimate, view of what's going on there. All right. What shall be next? We have been checking out Mexican peso too. Let's take a look at the ruble. Let's see, get rid of that and that. And there's the ruble. There we are. You can see the ruble pushed itself into a daily sell a couple days ago. And right there. Let's put it in the right spot though. And it pretty much has been sideways to down. I guess you could say sideways, just sideways. It is at its lows from the sell, but it is more sideways than anything else. Alrighty, let's see now. What else can we say about that? Not much, really, I guess. And you would think this would, for the amount of barrels of oil they put out in the Russian Federation, you would think that the currency would be lower. People would be buying it because they buy the oil, that type of thing. I mean, it's the three majors, I guess you could say. It's Saudi Arabia, Russia, and the United States all produce about the same amount of oil. So about 11, 12 million barrels a day. So you would think that the Russian Federation people would have to buy rubles to get that oil. That's why I always say, currencies have a real function. I mean, they have a real fundamental function that people need it. They need, if they want to buy something in Russia, I'm sure that there are companies that say, yeah, we'll take it in any currency, but you're probably paying a premium when you do that. Whereas if you pay them in their own currency, you're probably better off. All right. And then what we do is we slide over to the peso. Dollar peso, right there. You see it's went into a buy yesterday. It's weakening a little bit and we're getting a volatility signal. At the same time though, we are trying to join in. Notice the weekly is turning into a buy. And with it trying to turn into a buy, it tells us that things are firm. Now, with a weekly turning into a buy and a daily buy, they might see how that hump occurred over here, right there, that wild hump. Might get another one of those out of this. I'd be a little, also you could look at it as a reverse head and shoulders overall, but it wouldn't surprise me if we get up and challenge the 2025, or, I mean, it's not that far away, 2050, something like that. All right. Nobody want to see anything particular? I guess silver was the most funnish. We've been looking at lumber lately. Robin's writing something for lumber. Check this out. Where's it at? There it is, lumber. You see it's been It caught the sell up in here on the weekly. That's like all-time highs, and sold off, and that was a winner. And then it goes into a buy and only lasts for like a week, and it's right back into the sell again. It's been a sell ever since. So, and Robin, if you notice, I've written on there like green dot line day buy, red. Let's see, where's that? I think it needs to be moved over. There we are. Red dot line day sell, and then green. And same thing here. I do this too. There we are. Maybe I should move this over. I didn't look at the chart. We can look at the chart first before we do this. Let's just do that. Minimize, cancel, light this puppy up. Lumberado. Okay, good. It's in there. So good. All right. See, I have all those in there for you. So you see, red dotted lines is sell. There we go. So here, over in the lumber, you know, now this was an interesting one. It bottomed out here after three great sales, you know, shorts. Then this one was a little work. You had to wait 2 or 3 days for it, and then it gave you some profits. And now we are went into a buy, now back into the sell, and that's much easier win going on in the lumber. All right. From here, who do we look at? Look at natural gas. Interesting. Tried to get into a sell yesterday, but we had red and greens this morning, so I realized that it was not a sell yet. And this morning it's lifting up very well. It's showing some real firmness in there. This long buy now, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, going on 14 weeks now on the natural gas. 13 weeks. And you know, it's been doing it straight through the summer. It's starting to give us a real warning that winter could be very challenging temperature-wise, because it just doesn't seem to let go. I don't think it has anything to do with more buyers than sellers in the sense of, anticipating. I think something more is going on here. Supply, I guess. Maybe because of the way they cut back on the supply lines. I don't know. You know, Biden is a strange bug. You ever see when he does his whispering on national TV? He's a strange duck. All right. Let's just take a look at peso. Oh, I did look at peso. All right, so we've done the currencies. Unless anybody wants to see anything particular, we'll just drift over into the commodities. Let's see. Get rid of that. There we go. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ. You can see NASDAQ's trading at all-time highs here. Thought they were going to go through the 15 yesterday. Didn't seem to happen, but it's acting pretty firm here today. I'll just show you the short term. There we go. And there's the all-time high now is 975, and it's trading at 967 now. So it backed it off a little bit, but this thing goes up and down 20 points in a heartbeat. Now the NASDAQ, the S&P 500, I'm sorry, the S&P 500, doing the same exact thing. You know, playing with all-time highs and bouncing back and forth. Let's see if we can find that. There it is right there on the short-term basis. Look how all morning long it's been climbing. And then we go over to the daily itself. We'll find it. There it is. Now, I opened up the wrong thing. That can't be MQ3. Oh yeah, it is, okay. And let's find it over here. And there's the S&P 500. Oop. This morning it was doing some weakness. We even had a little red dot for a while, but they've straightened that out. Now they're holding this up just as firm, like the Nasdaq, and that's all-time highs there. It just goes on and on and on for months now. It just doesn't give up. It just constantly all-time highs. They go to it, they stop a little bit, all-time highs, all-time highs. I bet we've had, like out of the last 70 days, or let's say the last 90 days, we've probably had something crazy like, like almost 30% of them probably been all-time highs. It is incredible. All right. Let's take a look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Right there. Same situation going on, playing with the all-time highs, and we thought we saw a failed neck and shoulder. They knocked the daylights out of it. Now look at it. Ooh, right there. It's trying to get back into the buy on a weekly basis with no problem whatsoever. It's been in a daily buy for 4 whole days, going on a 5th. Yeah, this is earnings week, so this probably has more of a positive spin on the marketplace. We'll see how that goes going into next week. Exacto, presto. All right, now let's take a look at the Russell 2000. Jumped in a daily buy for a day or two. Here you see the strength. Let's widen that out. But it's been in a weekly sell for 2 full weeks, going on a 3rd. Kept on thinking we're going to see it play itself down to the 21. It's at, it's been as low as like 21 even, something like that. So, I would think that they may go after that low again. All right. So there are the 4 indices, and what has happened is that the majors, the 3 majors, Dow Jones Industrial Average, S&P 500, and the Nasdaq, or the Tech 100, have held their own. They've stayed firm and at all-time highs. All right. So that's the stock indices. What's curious, I guess, if anything, is the fact that the Russell 2000 is trying to play itself down. And being in a weekly sell now for 3 weeks, we close in that daily sell today. Could be another move for taking out these 2150 to 2100 area. All right, now you can see what Bitcoin looks like. Right there, that's the August Bitcoin. Still in the minus. All right, we need to look at July. It updates itself a little bit better. Right there. There we go. You see it's underneath. And it's been like 13 weeks or 14 weeks in a weekly sell. These contracts last like literally only 30 days and they're gone. You can see it's been a daily sell for 3 days. The pressure is on. I don't really think that they're going to send. I really do think between 25 and like 35 is really the range. We've seen it get down to like 27, 28, comes roaring back. Got down to like 31, ran up to almost 40, stopped there. So it's not exactly going down anymore, and I think it's still up for the year. Like, I don't know. Let's take a look at it on Dukascopy. I like it when I look further back. When we look at Bitcoin, let's see, there it is. And there it is there, and we'll put it up as the monthly. Right there. So it started the year, it's widened a little bit, and that's a monthly. And let's lift this up. Whoa, where did he go? There it is. So we're looking at right here is the first of the year. So all we're really doing is, I guess they're about flat for the year, right? So this one is, that's November, that's December. So it closed at, in basically the, what's that, the 3,000 area. And so, you know, we're flirting with the year, but overall it's still climbing. And even imagine if it closed at like 35 for the year. I mean, that would still be in the range of like a 12% return. So I mean, it's even better than that. So I mean, like, you know, this product is not exactly as weak as it is. It's still trading higher than where it started the year. It does remind you of gold in many ways, you know, and silver. How many times do you watch gold and silver and think, you know, day to day, it's like, it's not moving. And then you go back and look at it over, say, a 10-month period, and you go, wow, you know, gold really was moving. But when you're really looking at it close up, it doesn't seem to have anywhere near the effect. But when you look at it on like a month-to-month basis, all of a sudden you realize, wow, this thing has been moving. And that's a good way of looking at it too. And it has that characteristic. The cryptos, you know, if I said, matter of fact, one of the old traders was talking to me this morning about, I forget what it was. Was it inflation? No, he sent grants over. The interest rate newsletter. And, you know, Grant is, you know, your classic fundamentalist, so he's like totally off the walls. You know, I mean, he's hanging from the ceiling at this point because nothing is working the way it's supposed to. And he said something like, the inflation numbers yesterday were the highest since '91, since 2091. Now, inflation in like 1980 was like, you know, 18, 19%, 20%. And so by 91, they had gotten control of it and knocked it down. And so I said to him, I said, isn't that funny? Because I did this analysis for a hedge fund that I worked for. And they showed me an option strategy. I've talked about it here. And I said, you know, I gave him my analysis. But my analysis was that back in November or December of 91 going into 92, this trader who was doing these option strategies changed the character of the option spreads. So the risk had increased by 50% more. And I was saying it happened then, and it was Bernie Madoff, of course. And so it's kind of funny, the record inflation numbers matches up to Bernie Madoff going from legitimate to illegitimate. And I thought that was kind of funny, kind of odd funny, you know. All right. So you can see here the cryptos, they're holding on pretty well. It's the same thing. And you can see it here on J4X. Holding on very well. You know, still up for the year. And you can see, you know, when you look at it on a day-to-day basis, yeah, all right, it's going down. Of course, you know, no problem. We understand that. It's not the worst thing in the world. And it's kind of like the way gold and silver is. You know, it sneaks up on you. Just when you think that you've been watching it for 10 months and you don't think it's gone anywhere, sometimes it's 12% higher. It's like, wow, I didn't even realize that happened. And that's the way metals work. That's the buyer of last resort type of products. Alrighty. So that was the discussion about inflation. And, you know, when we look at something like here's a 30-year bond, you know, it's like this thing's been running, you know, it's from when it went into the weekly buy back in here. It is amazing that it has held that well with all the inflation news that we have heard, which is a surprise in its own right. And you know, you would have thought that we had gotten away from having to worry about inflation, but no, they're playing more games with it now. So it is you know, just all part of that process. Let's see. scissor. That's it. Okay. Now let's jump over to. We've done the stock indices. We've done the metals. If anybody wants to see anything, just give a yell. I think we did crude oil. We must have done it in a fleeting moment. But let's just double check crude. Crude holding up very well in here, and that holding well with that weekly buy. That big circle, Robin was asking me. He says, "Are you going to leave that up there?" I said, "Yeah." It just kind of reminds people that don't fight the Doc's math. You know, we saw this. We're in a weekly buy back then. I was like, all right, just let it play itself out. Just don't be short, or in this case here, don't be long either. You know, in other words, you have to be neutral at this point because it's in a daily sell and a weekly buy, and at the same time, the daily was going up in value for like 3 full days. And then it rolled over and broke the bottom. And so it's like one of those warnings. So I said, yeah, I like leaving that circle up there for people to look at that. To remind them, don't try to outthink the marketplace. Try to be like one of those little fishies that basically eats like plankton and stuff like that off of the big whales. All right, now, let's see, it's been a quiet day. No one's asked any real questions since we last looked at, what was it? We looked at Aussie, we looked at the yen, and I think we looked at silver. That's what we did. So let's see where else we can go from here. We looked at natural gas. Let's take a look at the 10-year. We're looking at the 30-year bond. There's the 10-year. It's trying to lift up. But you know, you can see red and green, and the green line and the white line are still under the minus on the sheet itself. You know, on the chart itself. All right. Let's see what the Nikkei's doing. A little really choppy. A couple weeks, 3 weeks in a sell, then it goes into the buy, and now it's trying to go back into the sell again. Well, we've looked at a couple of these interesting things. Did I show you the lumber? There's the lumber. That's what Robin's writing about. That's been interesting. It, you know, caught the top, and I guess the front contract at the time got up to like $1,600. This got up to like $1,200. It was discounted by $400 still. And what's interesting is that it literally has lost 50% of its value. I mean, you figured that here it was all-time highs. Maybe this day at 1302, or that day at 1286. Either one, you take those, and you know, 6.5, and right now trading at 631. So it's literally lost 50% off its all-time high, which is kind of interesting in its own right. Definitely interesting. And lumber, you know, it ran up the front contract like September or something like that. I guess it was. Where are we at now? No, we're in July. So it must have been the June contract ran to 1,600. And you know, so here's Doc. We can't see. Oh, you can't see. I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you for giving me a push there. Whoa! Now you really see. All right, let's bring that a little bit more down. But there's lumber. And so, you know, it's gone from the 13s, the low 13s, to the low 6s. So it's done a 50% retracement. Good reason alone right there to write about it. You know, especially if we can get into a daily buy and a weekly buy. So far we haven't been able to. It's gone into the weekly sell twice since its all-time high, and it's gone into the weekly buy just once. So, and the dailies are doing lots of interesting things there. You know, and they've been very consistent also. Boy, does that have a nice rhythm to it. I mean, look at distance. Look at this distance between the sell and the buy. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. Nice consistency. Winner, 5 chicken dinners. And then gives you a buy, and it jumps up for like 3 or 4 days, It goes back into a sell, and then you get another 6 days of selling. Then you get into a buy, a couple of days of firmness, and then another sell right there, which is another big winner chicken dinner. You get like 3 big winner chicken dinners, and they are big dinners. You can feed 2 families, 3 families. And then you can see here, back into the weekly sell from here, just from 1 week in a buy in this stuff there. Yeah, that's that classic dead cat bounce. Yeah, the dead cat bounce. So now you can see we've been hanging out in the sell again. So that pressure is on one more time. And I guess they'll just keep on pushing on it. And, until we see this thing get into a weekly buy, not much to take too serious. No, I know. The prices are high everywhere. I know. Well, I was speculating. I've been in and out at Home Depot a lot lately. And I was speculating it's their inventory. They bought it at that price. They're not going to lower it until they get rid of that inventory at the higher price. Then you'll start to see prices come down. But right now, I don't think that they're willing to bite that bullet until they have to. I'm reading the chat line now. It is, like I said, I think that's the answer to it. I really do. I think that they buy all this inventory at X price. They're going to sell it out at X plus 1. And then they might have cheaper lumber and you can jump on that. But since you're in the know, being here, then you know that there's no reason not to hold off and not buy at the moment. And if you do buy, make sure that you can transport it yourself. Don't incur extra costs. Okay, now let's jump over to, that was kind of neat. We haven't looked at lumber in a while. Let's see, there's that. Let's take a look at some of the commodities. Grains yesterday was wild. Now I regret that I deleted that chart. But corn ran up into the $7 area. It was like $7.30. Also, I want to see what let me just check out the stock one right there. If Middle Age is in the hood. Middle Age, if you're around, here's a picture of, we're only 13 minutes away from live trading. Let's see if they're giving a morning update. No, not yet. I'm going to give it a Control R. Nothing yet. So our weekly has sunk down, hit the bottom of the time manifold all in 1 week, and the daily is hanging around on the daily buy and refusing to go down. So, at this point in time, it's be careful, be neutral at the moment. Try to be neutral. Sell some calls on top, that type of thing. All right. Oh, let's look at tags. Tags is an interesting one. That's the dollar index. There's tags. Tags is 4 products. It's an ETF, and it's a 4-product ETF that has corn, soybeans, and wheat, and sugar. That's kind of a neat index, It's an ETF, and I remember 1 week looking at it and thinking, wow, it's in a weekly sell, and corn went into a weekly buy. I wonder who's going to win on this. This did, not the ranchers and farmers and so forth and the granary, but the product itself. So you can see here, tags represents those 4 grains: soybeans, wheat, and corn, and it also represents sugar. All right. Now let's jump over to, where is it at? Close. There's the nitty gritty right here. And it's been kind of impressive. We're seeing some buying coming in. Like I said yesterday, we saw corn, the deliverable corn, old crop they call it, jump from 640 to like 750. It was a massive move. Then it sold itself back out again. Just like the way oil went minus. And then here's soybeans. You can see them. They're trying to perk their head back up after going into a weekly sell last week. That's soybeans. Let's see what the oil is doing. Right there. It's December oil. It's holding up firm at its highs for the last month and a half. And then the one that lags so much is wheat. September wheat. And it's in a daily buy for a second day. And it looks like it's flirting with the weekly buy. So maybe we will see this product find a way to get into a buy this week. Which would be awful nice. To have that heads up, Now, nobody want to see anything particular? You can get me to easily look at something that we've already looked at before. If not, I'm just going to go through this stuff since it's that type of day. There's heating oil. That's live hogs. Hogs are showing some life, but again, it's in a weekly sell. So it's saying to you, be careful and stand to the side. Wait for it to figure out what it's trying to do. That's that uncertainty thing going on. All right. Now, let's see, we've looked at the stock indices. We've seen the three grains, soybeans, wheat, and corn. We've looked at lumber. Oh, here's one that's exploding also. Here's another one, Robin. Oats. Oats and dotes and little daisy daisies and diddly wop de doo. Doo doo. Do 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 do. That's yesterday. Let's see if we can get today's update in there. Do 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 do. Is that ZO? It's September, so I gotta fix that. Let's cancel that. Okay, so that's set. Let's see if we can get today's quote out of that. Let's try the default. No, let's do a Control R. Nothing yet for the 14. Let me take a look at it on the quote sheet. Zia. And that's SEP, right? Yep, SEP oats. And SEP oats are up 5 more cents at 29.5. So why are you not showing us the quotes? Let's see if we can find a way to get those quotes out of it. Book them, Dano. Still not giving us the quote. Huh. Let's give it a refresh too. No, not updating it yet. But it's 5 cents quoted. So in other words, what they do is they're sizing up the bid and offer at the moment. That's what we call sizing. They call it sizing it up. So in other words, just don't throw something out there. They try to get matching orders so they can liquidate what's on their book. So oats took off like that yesterday, just like the way July deliverable corn did. Didn't have that much of an effect on beans and wheat and all that other stuff in the back months, but they're all firm. You can see here, soybeans. I know we looked at that right from the beginning, I think. You can see here it's trying to get into a daily buy, and it wasn't doing that. Now that's reflecting the 13 again. So that closed in a daily buy. So I know something's wrong here. Let's try this. There we go. Now it's updating. And let's see if we can do that to the oats and dotes and little daisy daisies. Doodly bumpty doo doo doo. There we go. Maybe I have to hit a Control R. Still not doing it. Huh. I guess they're not making the quotes still. I mean, they're sizing it up, but they're not making a trade yet. That's what it comes down to. So it's 5 cents higher again. And that's the action we're seeing over in the commodities. I guess that fits the inflation number, huh? I mean, obviously, you know, people watch gold and silver. They watch all these things because they're hoping that it will give them insight to where future events are going to occur. Like, you know, people reaching in and buying your metals, or, you know, reaching in and buying something else because they find it undervalued and you think it's overvalued. What you say? Oh, there it goes. Alan says oat milk is very popular. I am drinking it too. It is. It's kind of fun. So oats is really getting some legs, you think, from that? There's like 2 or 3 strong providers. Oh well, that's what it is. That's what it is. They've chosen to do that. And I guess you would wear that mask to hide things, yes. All right. Now, what else is left over in that complex? Rice. Rice has been interesting. I'm just going to go through all of it at this point. There's rice. Now, they're not open yet. They closed in a daily buy yesterday. No, a couple days ago. Remember, that was the volatility, so you couldn't take the sell. We had a red line there, a red dotted line at one point, and you know, it closed like that, and then the next day we closed up. So it's in the buys, and now you can see there the weekly. The weekly is also in rice, trying to turn back up after 2 weeks in the sell. George says silver is really on fire this morning. Let's check it out. Fire. There it is. Oh yeah, look at that. Rocking. Let's give it a Control R. There we are. So closing the buy last night, and it is moving up. But I wish it was in a weekly buy. It'd be worth, you know, throwing some spreads on, but as long as it's in a weekly sell and daily buy, I just stand to the side and wait for it to play itself out. And so, what else is there? I guess that's about it. I don't. Anybody want to see anything in particular? You know, silver's been interesting. It's been in a sell for a long while. You know, since the 28.5 area, and you would think that you know, it would get some legs. You know, $4 lower, and it's played in the high 25s, and you know, we did see at one point they were recouping from last year altogether. All right. If no one has any other questions, I guess we'll sing our way out of this. So we will see you all tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thursday before TGIF. So happy trails to you until we meet again. Also, warning. Pal is speaking for the next 2 days, so be careful. Happy trails to you, to all our Dukascopy cyber friends. Everybody be safe, be smart, and don't get trapped into a position. You know, when you have the Fed chair speaking, you just don't know. I mean, that's the only way to look at it at this point. All right, Doc over and out. Arrivederci.